There is absolutely no such thing as turnkey. It's bullshit. I mean, that's why this podcast is called STR Unfiltered. Welcome. I'm Bill Faith, founder of Build Short Term Rental Wealth. I'm an investor and superhost just like you. And I just want to talk about buying turnkey because there's this misconception that we can go in and buy turnkey and it's turnkey. We don't have to do anything. And it's BS. You will never buy a property that is turnkey, right? And the interesting thing is a lot of people think, oh, we're going to buy this turnkey. We're not going to have to do anything to it. But yet the numbers, the person selling it, the numbers it's supposed to do 100,000. I'm going to do 120, 125. Well, if you're not adding value to it after you purchase, then how are you going to increase those numbers? Are you a marketing wizard like myself? Because if you're not, you're really just going to rely on what's already there in that footprint. And it's one of the things of how I build super properties. It's the canvas that I see when I walk onto a property, and then I can visually paint what all the post-close renovation, the rehab, the design is going to look like. And I've already done the enemy method. I already know what the competitors are doing. It's like this new property that I have under contract right now. Going to absolutely annihilate because the market I'm moving into for the very first time, the hosting's not great. Everybody's buying turnkey. And, turnkey in their mindset is completely different than mine. So I know strategically what amenities, what design is going to impact ADR and continue to increase that. And a lot of people just go in and they'll spend money on things that aren't moving the needle for ADR, right? So that's one of the reasons why I try never to buy turnkey. And I think most that are rookies or new tend to migrate towards turnkey, especially if you're buying outside of your home market and it's mindset because you think it's going to be easier. Oh my gosh, I don't have to, find contractors. I don't have to do all this stuff. Very rarely am I getting contractors involved. I just want you to understand that. Even when I'm going in and adding value or spending maybe even $100,000, into a property, most of the time they don't have contractors. My most recent purchase in Montana, yes, I brought in a contractor to renovate 2 bathrooms. The bathrooms were Golden Girls. There's no question. And that's some things I look at investing into long term becomes really, really important. Did I added on a deck? I had the contractor do that. Yes. So I could put a hot tub and a barrel sauna looking down the river. I should say up the river. That's the view. That's the $1,000,000 that I spent was for the view. It wasn't for the cabin. Now, for probably 99% of investors that would have bought this Montana cabin, it was turnkey. Look, inside was great. It was clean. It was nice. We even got the furniture and we saved the beds. They were fine, but we replaced the couches. But we took the couches that were decent, smaller leather couches, and we put them into the master bedroom. The bedrooms were so big, we moved them and repurposed them into a different place. The property was not turnkey. They didn't have a coffee bar. They didn't have a milkshake bar. They didn't have an amazing family room, couch and sofas and moose antlers and all this type of stuff that my wife puts into the core. They didn't have the murals that we put in the property, which nobody does murals in Montana, at least up in the Whitefish area. So we're doing these things to separate, to elevate, right? The second part of this is when you buy turnkey, you're buying at the top of the market. Somebody's already renovated, right? They're the ones that are going to make 30, 40, 50% off of what they put in to the renovation. You're paying for it at that point. That is not a savvy way to invest, in my opinion. Now, maybe there's going to be some fire sales. The economy, it's been a great buying time for us. I got a $75,000 discount on my Montana property. This property we're under contract at $1.2 million it was full asking price. It is turnkey unfurnished. But the furnishings that, once again, this property that we just bought, 7 bedrooms, 5 bathrooms, pool, it's got a garage, a lot of great stuff, good sized lot, but we still have to come in and add the value add on the back end to turn this really nice property into a super property, right? And that's the strategic components of choosing the right amenities, the right elevations. A lot of people don't think about elevation, specifically outside. They'll go and add a fire pit, which is on the ground. They'll add some loungers or, soft furniture or whatever that's on the ground. They don't think about elevation, which is something that's absolutely critical for people from a marketing perspective. Adding a gazebo or cabanas or something that's going to take the eye up and be able. There's perceived value in elevation. That's what people love high rises. What does it create? It creates views. So you just have this pool and a patio and a blank slate in the back. It's not going to render as well in photos. So a lot of the things that you want to think about when you're evaluating properties is the marketability of the property. One, does it already have the marketability at a very high level? Two, if it does not, how are you going to create it? What is it going to cost, and what type of customer or guest is it going to attract? Do you really want to pay for somebody's renovation? Do you not want to get a deal? Are you still going to have to add value after you've made the purchase? I can tell you, when people saw my Elk Lodge in Banner Oak, North Carolina, people thought that it was turnkey. And it was for most. I can't emphasize this enough. But I still put $22,000 into a 3-car garage to turn it into a massive game room and movie theater. Had to do the floors, upholstered or whatever you call it, the top of the pool table, brought in some video games, took the family room furniture out of the main house, put it in there, had to put in the TV, bought a shuffleboard, ping pong tables. I bought an outdoor ping pong table. That's actually something that, is a huge pro tip. Even if you're putting it indoors, buy the outdoor ping pong table. It'll be more durable, less likely to break. Doesn't have the net. Literally has, I think it's wood, which lasts a lot longer. So the durability of those products are things that, so if you're buying from somebody that's an inexperienced investor, an inexperienced host, they don't understand those things. So you got to take a really close look at what you want. So a lot of times I will try to negotiate all of the furniture, even if I don't want it, in the price. And then I'll go back and say, hey, I want these 4 or 5 items, which they will typically just throw in as part of the negotiating tactic, right? So that's where I get some items, because I just can't emphasize enough. Buying turnkey is bullshit. We bought 3 or 4 turnkey properties and we still end up, completely changing most of the stuff. And this is the expectation I want to set for you. If you want to have, there's good, better, best, right? And there's really good, better, best, and then a super property. And super properties is what we build. And it's all built around the financial return. I can't emphasize that enough. We've been around this game long enough to know what works and what doesn't work. I've done enough enemy method online. I drive by my competitors when I'm in the markets. It's one of the reasons that I go to my properties often. It's one of the reasons that you cannot make a super investment by not putting your eyes on the property. I'm telling you, a video walkthrough from an agent or a FaceTime is not good enough, because the purchase all starts in the assessment of that property. And I'll give you a really quick example. We just went under contract today, and I don't know when this is going to air. I'm already going to be in contract, maybe even closed by the time you see this, but I went under contract today. Today is a Friday. Tuesday is home inspection, pool inspection, drain inspection, all that type of stuff. And Bree and I are flying down on Tuesday to be there, but we also have 4 hours planned to be on site. And we're going to design and map everything out. Everything. We're going to have measurements of all the rooms. We'll have a site plan. In this market, the amenities in the backyard is absolutely critical. So we're going to go through all the design options, from, murals and swinging beds and, the egg chairs and, cornhole, you name it, fire pits, all of the outdoor dining, all that type of stuff is going to be taken into an account. And then we'll prioritize based on which of those amenities, one, is the best marketability, and 2, is going to drive up ADR. So those are 2 things that we're always comparing, and we grade them on a scale of 1 to 10. Can't emphasize that enough. Look at all the options, grade them on marketability. So what's it going to look like with the finished product? How's it going to give you that marketability? And then will it increase ADR? Then the third thing you need to take into consideration is going to be functionality. How will the guests use it, and will they love it? That's something that, it's just like the simple things of that doesn't give you a whole lot of marketability, and it's, the guests don't really pay attention to it, but if they're not there and you can't have like on your nightstands a USB-C charger, like before USB-C, we had not Wi-Fi, we had USB chargers on every nightstand. We set out a cold bottle well, it's not cold by the time they go to bed, but when they check in, we have bottles of water on every nightstand. They don't really comment a whole lot about that stuff in the reviews, but you know what they do? They'll know if it's not there if they're a guest of ours. There's no question for those return guests. Those small things go a long ways. So marketability, and I do market that stuff that we do that, because when guests see those little extra small things that adds value, they pay attention. Many times it might be subliminal, but they do cognitively see it. So ARV, in my opinion, it's BS. You've got to factor in all the costs, all the expenses, all the design, all the linen upgrades, the bedding upgrades. You got to get. I don't know about you guys, but my wife and I go through and look at every pot and pan, and the grease splasher thingies, and the wine glasses. We're looking at all that stuff. I mean, for us in a good size house like this, a 7-bedroom, it could be $7,000, $8,000, $9,000 just for all of those items that are going into a kitchen. I'm not talking about milkshake bar and like we did in Montana, that crazy stuff, but just for pots, pans, plates, pizza cutters, new towels for the kitchen, just all that type of stuff, blenders, coffee pots, frothers. That could be an easy $8,000-9,000 in a large kitchen, $3,000-4,000 in a small kitchen. That's why nothing is ARV. We have to factor all that stuff into our pro forma. And like when we go down there on Tuesday, we've got to estimate what all of this is going to cost. And it is the new towels. It is, having to upgrade a coffee pot. It is new pots and pans for $300 from Costco. Whatever that is, that's got to go into the pro forma. Once again, marketing, cost, ADR, right? Really, marketing, ADR, and then the cost goes into your pro forma, because nothing is fully turnkey. That I promise you. Thanks for joining me on STR Unfiltered, everybody. Have a great day. Happy hosting.